KSK Book Reviews. Common, new book. And Then We Rise, A Guide to Loving and Taking Care of Self. This book was recommended to me. Read it, liked it. I'll give you my honest opinion of it. I want to do something different this time. I want to go over different sections in the book. There's certain things when I start reading the book, I highlighted certain sections, and I just want to kind of hit those sections that way. I'll give my overall opinion while I'm doing that. But so this is Common wanted to write a book. According to him, he wanted to write a book about how to improve, how other people can be motivated to improve themselves through sharing his experience of improving himself. So he broke down the book in 4 parts. It's food, body, mind, and soul. Now, with the food part, he nailed it. He killed it with the food. With the body, he kind of got into more of an autobiography, kind of talked about himself too much. I won't spend too much time on that. The mind, awesome. And then the soul, another part that I would say you want to definitely spend some time reading there as well. So the introduction in the book really broke down the whole book. You really can stop right there. I wouldn't recommend that because you would miss out on all the other jewels that Common dropped in the book. All right, so let me get right to it. I waste no time here. All right, so food. So he talked about the different foods that he stopped eating, the different foods that he started eating, and the effects of what was happening to him, when he stopped eating it, and the things that anyone can see when you stop eating certain foods and start eating other foods. Talked about, of course, going vegan. He did mention that even though he's vegan now, it doesn't mean that he won't eat fish again. That's what he said. Also, he said that as far as the long term, like the difference from eating a donut and eating like vegetables or fruit in the morning, different healthy breads and stuff like that. Long term, it might not happen to you immediately, but in time, it's proven that it's not good for the gut. And of course, we know that all good health begins in the gut. So he went over that. Also, on page 25, he went over as far as like when he was growing up and different friends of his. Of course, he comes from Chicago, so it's a heavy Nation of Islam presence in Chicago. So of course, a lot of his friends know of the Nation of Islam and the eating practices from the nation. And he mentioned that his friends would often talk about that. And when he was young, he really didn't pay as much attention to it till he got older and wanted to improve. So he went into that. He also, let me see, food, health, quality. He also went into, of course, that when he eats better, he feels better. On page 30, he goes into that. Again, when he ate better, he felt better. Of course, it required discipline, changed the view, boosted his confidence, according to him. C, eating whole foods. Another part. Also about, eating better, if you want healthy skin. If you want healthy skin, it's good to, of course, you got to eat better. And the different foods that you can, and I believe Common, when you see him in his movies and stuff, his skin is pretty, it's on point. So, for him to say it and for him to talk about the different foods that he eat in order to keep his skin clear, it's something that, if you're interested in that, which I think we all should be, but, that's something that's good. Of course, I'm from D.C., and of course, Common Chef is from D.C. Lauren Vaughn Deerpool, maybe some people know her. Queen of the Green, so I know some people might be familiar with her. And also, Common went over, he has something I just want to get into. He has a personal chef, he has a trainer, he has a therapist, and a pastor. So of course that goes into food, body, mind, and soul. So he goes into that. On page 33, he continues with the energy from the different foods. And then the relationship with the foods. And that's something that he breaks down. he gets into more with the breaking down of the relationship with the foods and how, in a way of like how people say that you are what you eat, like you really are that. Once you start eating differently, you feel differently, you act differently. This is what he said. And he also said that when you, let's just say you eat something bad, like, you haven't made the transition to start eating vegan or start being a vegetarian or whatever, and you still eating meat, you know what I'm saying, or you may even been drinking alcohol, it's a good thing to get like burdock root, taking that after you eat, because you want to flush your system to get it right out of your system afterwards. Dandelion root, stuff like that. He goes into, this was pretty deep too. He goes into this particular part in the chapter with food. He goes into Psalms, and he goes into kind of a spiritual, but being thankful for the foods and thanking the foods for allowing them to eat, for allowing them let me slow down and say it this way. Thanking the foods almost as if a prayer, like where you would thank God for the food, but you're also thanking the food. And that's something that when he went on a retreat, he felt a little uneasy with that. Not to give away the whole book. Actually, I'm not going to go too deep into that because I encourage people to read it. But he went into a part that when he went on a retreat, how he had to make that adjustment to, as he was saying his prayers, as far as thanking God, that he also, wanted to thank the food. But I'll let y'all read that, and he'll get it. He gets into that. Let me see. But that was very deep with the food. Now, again, with the body, I'm not going to spend too much time on the body, but he goes into a lot of stuff about himself. A lot of stuff, routine, the training, the working out, the discipline of getting up and working out and all that stuff. Like I said, that's the part that I think he spent a lot of time, kind of talking about himself a little too much. But, it was still good. But again, I didn't, I read through it, but I didn't highlight a lot there. I didn't feel like that it was anything that was revolutionary or anything that I needed to spend a lot of time on with the body. But he does have a few tips if somebody's interested in spending some time in that section. All right, now, then he goes into the mind. Now, with the mind, he went into like how, even though he was dealing with the mind, he was still, you're still your body because you're how you feel. So, example he gave, when he was in London and he felt at ease, and he wondered why he felt so at ease. And I'm just speeding this up, paraphrasing a little bit, because I don't want to make this too long. But, he went into that, about how he would go to London and he felt at ease all the time. And then it came out later on, with me just speeding it up, that is, no guns are there. It's not a lot of violence. So your natural feelings in your mind and your antennas are kind of lowered. It's not as heightened. It don't feel as intense. So he kind of went into that as far as like how your mind feel things, view things, the things that and it's like, it's a overall feeling that your mind working with, through your body and through the soul. But again, I'll not to give too much of the book away. That's very deep. Now the spiritual part on it was really, really good. Of course, he is from Chicago, which is, hot topic in the country right now, especially with everything that's going on. He actually went to Jeremiah Wright's church, where he felt he had a lot to say. Let me just read this. So on page 152, he said, being in the pews in Trinity United Church, it was like God was speaking to me. I felt like I was learning God. I felt inspired by my blackness. I was charged up by being in the presence of God. I felt, I've held that feeling close ever since. Now that's how he felt with Jeremiah Wright talking to him. If anybody don't know, of course, Jeremiah Wright was Barack Obama's spiritual leader and pastor. So you can look up Jeremiah Wright, wonderful person. He also used to come to my church years ago. His in DC, Covenant Baptist Church, where our pastor is Jeremiah Wright's first cousin, so he used to come to our church all the time, but I won't get into that. But so you have all of that. Also, he went into the spiritual as far as his praying, getting up every morning. So his routine, he eats right in the morning, he prays in the morning, he works out in the morning, and it gets his mind right for the day. That's pretty much it, the summation of it. But he gets into all of it. Again, with the spiritual, he breaks down how the spiritual really helps him physically, helps him to appreciate what God has given him as far as the food that he's eating and his success. And he also wanted to say that he is aware, of how eating, can definitely help, in eating and the spirituality can help in every single way in what you're doing. Of course, I'm at work and I got a few people trying to get my attention here, so I'm gonna speed this up. But that is with the spiritual part. Let me see. There's one other part that I want to mention here to you all. I can't find it. I may have to put it in the comments. This other part about the spiritual that I wanted to go into. I'll get into that later. But anyway, actually I'll put it in the comments. But you can't deny the body. When you're going through this, even though I didn't spend a lot of time on that section, just want to put that point out there. You can't deny the body and enrich only the spirit, or only enrich the mind. You have to do them all. You got to enrich the body, mind, spirit. All of them are equally important. Okay, that's something that I just wanted to add. But definitely check out the book. It's definitely worth a read. It's an easy read, as you can see. Pages, not, the words aren't that big. The page, you could breeze through this. I went through this in a day. I read it in a day, so it was, it took me a few hours, but I read it, knocked it out. This is something that I would recommend. It's definitely a book that I didn't read common other books, but I plan to just when I have time. But this one was recommended. I'm glad they did. So again, recommend picking up Common, and Then We Rise. A guide to loving and taking care of self, something that we all need to be working on. Only when you can take care of self is when you can help take care of others. So, all right, talk to y'all next video.